Welcome. This is the Scarlet and Rage podcast. Thank you for taking the time to stop in and watch. I am Michael, the voice of reason, and this is my co host, Jay, the voice of rage. And so we are excited tonight with the opportunity to talk about a Michigan win for the first time in several years since 2019. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things we did not discuss in the immediate reaction yesterday. And, get in looking for, a few other topics we've got queued up as well that I think will be a good discussion. So we welcome you guys in the chat. Please be active. Please be loud. Post early and often. And we'll get to as many as we can. If you super chat, of course, you are guaranteed to get your comment read. So if you would hit that like, subscribe button. And I am going to pull up momentarily. We've got a video we're going to get to here in a moment. But after that, I am going to pull up the message board. You guys, please hop on there. I am the voice of reason on there. Jay is rage. And Jay is on there enraging people daily. I am pretty relatively chill on that message board, but I do get on there and post, and I'm surprised at how busy it is, to be honest with you. It's so busy. I didn't really anticipate it to have that many posters at this stage in the game, but a lot of topics, a lot of things to discuss. We'll put that up and get to it again in a moment. But Jay, you still got a little afterglow from the undefeated regular season Michigan win?
I do, but I feel like I caught a little sickness in like the last day. I don't know who it was from, my son, my wife, or whatever. And tonight, like, how you have like, regular Mucinex you take?
Mm-hmm.
My wife like had like the Mucinex night shift one, and I accidentally took that like 30 minutes before I came on this show.
Oh, wow.
That's
so
it
you better get
really
this thing rolling before it conks you out.
Yeah, no, I that stuff like that doesn't really like put me to sleep. What puts me to sleep is, I put myself to sleep. So, yeah, man. I think I'll be fine. One thing, I guess you just get right into it, man. One thing I wanted to say about yesterday's game that we didn't say in the immediate aftermath is, dude, Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. I've been ripping on announcers all year for being unbiased towards Ohio State. They were actually pretty balanced in this game, Michael. I don't know if you caught that or paid much attention. I don't think you really do.
I don't pay attention to those guys. I think Gus Johnson's a little bit of a clown, and I think that Joel Klatt has gotten a little too full of himself. That's my take on the two of them, but I don't pay much attention either way. Certainly Joel Klatt has some good breakdowns and things, so I give him credit for that. But
I knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. I didn't pay attention, but I did hear a couple of fans say that they felt, I didn't listen close enough to pick this up, but they felt that they were clamoring for them to take the Jeremiah Smith touchdown off of the board. I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch. Maybe that was just Ohio State fans being a little bit sensitive. But I felt like they were pretty balanced.
They were pretty 50-50, man. And it hasn't felt like that all season for any broadcast, by the way. So, I'm the one who, I'll criticize you if I feel like you're screwing my team over or giving us an unfair broadcast. They did not yesterday, in my opinion. So props to them. I do agree that Gus Johnson is overrated. They need to bring back Tom Brenneman, man. Bring back Tom Brenneman. Like he's like the best in my opinion, but
yeah,
that is only my opinion. But Michael, speaking of some beat writers, man, I know you and I had like a little short conversation about this earlier, but I'm sure you are aware of Jeremy Birmingham.
Let me hit something real quick, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to discuss a little bit of that.
Yeah, so we are going to talk about
that. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yes, beat writers.
Yeah, Jeremy Birmingham, Austin Ward, and their little situation where they were basically taking money under the table around their employer type thing. And I guess that got them fired from like that media group and this, that, and the other. Well, they were involved with Bill Landis, right? They had that little show called like The Podcast or whatever, like, I guess a year ago, and then it kind of went away. And as you know, Bill Landis is kind of doing whatever with Doug Maurice now, and they're kind of doing whatever with 97.1 and like a mix of like some CBS, I forget which local Columbus news station they're doing it with, but I've watched them a little bit here and there just to see other people who cover Ohio State's opinions are. But there's something that caught me when Austin Ward does his little thing, like after every game, like he'll be walking around like the locker room or around the stadium type thing. It's kind of like, I don't know, just basically all access pass to, events after the game. But I found it so odd that they actually walked by Bill Landis in the video. Like they caught, like they were like right there, deer in the headlights, and they just ignored each other. They just kind of looked at each other and then they kept moving,
Yeah. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, let's take a look at that,
man. We've got it queued up here. So, let's see. Here we are. All right. So you're going to see to the left in the doorway, there is Bill Landis. He's a big guy. I think he's about 6'4", 5", probably definitely over 300 pounds. And then you've got, of course, Ryan Day exiting out there. And then behind this this bald guy right here is Austin Ward. And you'll see just a moment. You'll see him and Bill Landis. They were associates. They worked together. They did shows together all the time. And this look is undeniable. You know what's going on with these. Well, you don't know what's going on, but something's going on. So I'm going to hit play. You're going to see their interaction or lack thereof and the way that they kind of look when they see, oh, it's you here. So here it is.
All right, here we go. Here, just outside this
go back the
locker room. Look, they're going out the other side. Bro, let's get a head back.
See that one more time. Let's see that one more time, Jay.
All right.
Yeah, play that again.
Oh, just outside this the locker room.
He's looking through there.
He was like acting like he didn't see him.
He's like,
all right, here we go.
Gonna go
just outside this the locker room. Look, they're going out the other side. Bro, let's get a head that way to the buses.
Something going on between those two, Jay.
Dude, here's the thing. Everyone on that video picked up on that too, and they're like, hey, what's up with you and Bill or whatever? And obviously something happened with that little situation, right?
That would be my assumption, because up until that point, I'm not saying they were best friends or that they necessarily hung out after work.
Yeah.
But they certainly got along well. There wasn't any tension or friction between them on the show that they had, and they hung out, on that show. And so, yeah, something clearly happened there. Just a little interesting tidbit from the Ohio State beat. You've got guys that used to, kind of be on the same side. It's clear now something's happened. We covered the whole deal with Birmingham and Austin Ward and how they got dismissed from the podcast. And when they got dismissed, it's kind of like the whole thing blew up. And maybe it's that simple. Maybe Bill Landis is kind of like, you stupid, you stupid ass, you blew up our good thing that we had going. And maybe there's more to it than that, but interesting catch there on that video. I wouldn't have seen that unless you pointed that out to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not one to really watch those videos, man. Because I was so into beating Michigan that I was like taking it all in. Now I haven't watched Buckeye Scoop. That show is just god awful, man. It has really gone to hell without Kirk Barton. I don't know. They have like
I haven't watched it since. Yeah. I haven't watched it.
I don't know, man. Nevada is Nevada, and I think he's fine, but he doesn't really know what he's talking about. And then there's, I don't know, some black dude, and like he's essentially like a token black guy, man. Like he doesn't really serve any purpose other than just being Nevada's mouthpiece and agreeing with everything Nevada says and being a homer.
Hey, speaking of Ohio State kind of beat, I was told that Doug Maurice was on Zach Smith's Minnesota Sports Show recently. Is that true? Are you aware of that?
No, I haven't watched Zach Smith because he's been basically excommunicated from YouTube.
Exactly. This was probably right before that. I need to check and verify, but I was told that Doug Lesmerises was on there. So that would be interesting because Lesmerises really did not like Zach Smith. And Zach Smith knew Lesmerises didn't like him. And Zach Smith was always very complimentary of Lesmerises on the Minister Sports Show. He said he knows what he's doing. He said he's a guy who's got some balls. You know, he'll ask some tough questions, and he basically said he respected him. So maybe Zach taking the high road there is what kind of mended that potential relationship. And it seems that maybe there's some interaction between the actual Ohio State beat and now the Menace network. And Lesmerises was definitely on a podcast with Chris because I saw that. So it's interesting that those kind of tides are converging there.
Interesting. It's interesting how I don't think anyone would ever call Lesmerises an Ohio State hater or anything, but there was this guy back in the day. His name was Bruce Hooley, and I believe he was on 97.1 The Fan. Yeah, him. He's a big time conservative too. It was a Bruce Hooley. He was on 97.1, and then he went to 610 when they did their thing. And I swear, dude, if you hear something enough times, you believe it. And that's kind of where like society is. If they hear something on TV enough times, you're like conscientiously just going to believe like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that person's a dickhead. Well, I listened to him when he was on 610, and Ohio State fans hated this guy. They called him Bruce Tooley. Bruce Tooley, oh, he's a piece of shit. He hates Ohio State. Dude, that was the farthest thing from the truth. The guy was a diehard Ohio State fan. It's just that he looked at Ohio State very close and really didn't like a lot of things going on and had no problem asking the tough questions, kind of like Lesmerises. But in my opinion, I think he knows what he was talking about more than Lesmerises. So, it's just watch never ever like let somebody influence your thought process is the fact of the matter. Go out and find out for yourself and form your own opinions.
Yep, exactly.
Yes. So, Michael, with all that being said, man, one thing that needs to be addressed is, dude, how many Ohio State fans were in that stadium yesterday? I swear, we all know Ohio State travels ultra well, but I think we had at least like 30% of the crowd inside that stadium, man. There was a lot of Scarlet on TV, and that's not even factoring possible gray or people with like little like gray hats on or something. Gray hats with the Scarlet O. Like we didn't take over the stadium, but we had a force of fans inside of that stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. And formerly Slip and Skippy there, Jay Spielman 15, he mentioned Brutus there. You saw that, right? Brutus who did the little thing.
He put OHIO in the snow.
And he X'd out the M.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny, pretty brave of Brutus there. But Jay, before we get into, do you want to, because I know we had kind of discussed a little bit about the Michigan coaching situation, and so we'll cover that for a few minutes. Do you want to do that before we launch into the game?
Let's do that after, because I feel like we owe it to Ohio State fans to cover this home. Dude, we're a bunch of homers on this podcast, man. Because, things are great right now in Ohio State land. But Michael, obviously we don't need to go into a granular because we talked about a lot of these things yesterday. But again, it begins and starts with the offensive line performance yesterday, Michael, the best offensive line performance that I can remember from an Ohio State football team. And honestly, I can't remember the last time like Julian Sand didn't get touched, just no pressure given up. Run game was really good. Your boy, Tegra Shabola, is putting it together, man. You can see the talent when he's out there. He is an absolute monster. He was pulling, and it's like guys that are 6'6", 340 pounds should not be able to move like that, but he does. And it's like, good God. No wonder they never sent him to the bench, man. Like the guy is just a freaking a freak of nature. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, we're seeing why he was rated so highly out of Lakota West here in the Cincinnati metro area. I mean, he's starting to live up to that rating. It's taken longer, maybe, than we would have hoped, and even times this year, he's not played very well. So, I mean, let's hope that like it's actually clicking and that's going to continue on hopefully into the postseason. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy with a lot of ability that's just always kind of struggled up to this point.
And Philip Daniels, my God, dude, that guy, he just passes the look test, man. He is a massive human being. I know he's listed at like 6'5", 320. That is just inaccurate. I don't understand because he's bigger than Shabola. Like he looks like he's a legitimate 6'6", 6'7", 350 pounds. He is a massive human being. And then we know what we have with the other guys. We know what we have with like Carson Hinsman and Luke Montgomery and Austin Sierreveld. Like Austin Sierreveld has been like our best offensive lineman all year, but he's just kind of like steady Eddie in here, just doing his thing every week. But with, with Phillips rising up and Shabola rising up, it's like, Michael, we have it. We said before the year we think this is a
Jay.
Top
Let me give
line.
Cincy Metro Football another little plug there with Phillips, a product of Princeton here in the Cincinnati area. Came to the Buckeyes in via Minnesota. Went to Minnesota and played and developed there a little bit, and came on back home.
Yes, no, absolutely. You'd be hard pressed to find a better offensive line in the country, Michael. It's just a fact of the matter. We're just. That this offensive line is amazing, sir. I don't know if you have much to add there, but
only that towards the end of the game, and I think it was I don't think it was Jackson. I think it must have been West. He was in, and they did a play where they ran kind of almost like a, I don't know, seemed kind of like a trap almost, and the guard came, and I mean the timing and the way the guard cleared just before the back was going to be hitting the hole and was able to pick up. And I mean, it was a narrow space. It was a small hole. It was not a big hole. It was a crease. And I believe it was West. He got skinny, boom, and got through that hole. And it was a beautiful looking run play.
Absolutely, man. We just mauled them. And obviously it's easy. However, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's easier to have a really good run game when your passing game has Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, and teams have to worry about that. By the way, so, we had that one goal line possession, right? We made it all the way to their one, had 4th down and 1, and we got called for a false start. Michael, where in the fuck was the false start on that play? I didn't see it. I don't know if Jelani Thurman ends up that wide open without the whistles blowing. But I think the play probably works. And between that and Jashawn Barham, who should have been ejected for headbutting a referee, I'm just going to get this stuff out of the way. The Jeremiah Smith fumble and touchback, that was given to us as a makeup call for both. Like that, we really got screwed over by that false start call and Jashawn Barham not getting ejected from the game. Like I know a lot of people are trying to say like that was the right call. Dude, I think Jeremiah Smith did fumble that ball, and I believe he went out of the end zone, and he didn't regather until he was stepped out of bounds. So that is really a fumble and a touchback.
He certainly could have. I snatched a picture today from X, and from that picture, from the angle coming down, it does appear that it's possible that he may be within the line by a millimeter or two, but there's other angles where it looks like he's maybe over the line. And so maybe it goes back, Jay, to it's supposed to be indisputable video evidence to overturn it. And it was called a touchdown on the field. So they had to have indisputable evidence. And could he have deserved to get a touchback? Absolutely. It could have gone that way. But in the end, and especially maybe you're right, maybe with a couple of the calls that had happened previously and not ejecting, which would seem to be standard practice when you headbutt a referee, but he didn't. And so, it wasn't overturned, and that certainly obviously was a big play. Now, I don't think that would have determined the game, but that would have definitely made it much harder to go from, up 10-6 to now 6-3 and you're back on defense.
Sharon Moore had a problem with it in his post-game press conference, so I tell you that.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. Of course, he talks about that, but he doesn't talk about the plays where Ohio State got screwed over. And I'm not even talking about the pass interference on Jermaine Matthews on like a big third down for Michigan that they ended up getting a field goal on after we had scored to take the lead. Like, how do you call pass interference there on Jermaine Matthews? Not only is it ticky-tack, but the ball was like 7 yards out of bounds, Michael. Like, how in the fuck do you throw that flag, man? It's like, and again, I am not one to really dish on officials. I mean, I am of the belief of you have to be better than I'm trying to think how to phrase this. You have to be, if you leave the game in the hands of the officials, you're probably not good enough to win in the first place.
Right.
So be that as it may, Ohio State was really on the poor end of some really bad calls in this game. Really, they really were. And this is coming from me, who's the ultimate cynic here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because neither one of us were on the Georgia bandwagon of, if the refs make the right calls, we win the game.
Yeah,
we were like,
or
no.
the Clemson bandwagon in 2019. I wasn't on that one either.
We weren't on that. It was, yes, there were some questionable calls, but two things can be true at the same time. When you have a 2-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter and you have a, $2+ million defensive coordinator, that's where he's paid to not give up more than 13 points in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't do it. So, no excuses there. And no, the refereeing wasn't amazing for sure. But, obviously I don't think either way it had any kind of impact on the outcome of the game.
Yeah, what also didn't really have an impact on the outcome of the game, Michael, was Julian saying second pass is an interception, man. My God. That dude, I swear, is the most calm, cool, and collected quarterback I have ever seen at Ohio State, man. That guy is literally the same expression all the time. He's just in chill mode. He's like in surfer. And it turns out he actually did surf. I saw some story that he was like raised as like, surfing on like California beaches out there in Los Angeles. And I'm like, it kind of makes sense. He's just chill, man. Like he is like constantly like in his yoga form, just nothing affects him, and nothing affects him at all, man. He's just, I don't know what to say other than it's just, it's amazing. And that's who you want as a quarterback.
Well, in that regard, we can call him, Joe Germain 2.0. He does kind of, Germain kind of had that quality too back in the day, that he just didn't get too disturbed or impacted or affected by things. He seemed to kind of, battle through. And, Sayan definitely has that quality. And so that's a good thing with a quarterback. As a Bengals fan, when he's right and when he's playing well, Joe Burrow has that kind of quality that he brings. I remember I was live at a game here in Cincinnati. You could tell things were not going well for the Bengals early. In later years with other quarterbacks, they fold. Burrow stayed steady, got him through. And so that's a real leadership quality for a quarterback. And it was nice to see him, do that even after a big no-no on such a big stage like that. And he knows the implications of this. He knows it's been 4 years. He knows how bad Ryan Day wants to win this game. He knows what it means for his any chance of staying in the high, all of those things on the line. And he passed it with flying colors.
He absolutely did, man. And obviously who passes every game with flying colors. And it was great to have Jeremiah and Carnell back. I know there were some real legit concerns with Carnell possibly missing the rest of the year. Those were all squashed, and he looks like the future first-round pick that we all know that he is going to be. Jeremiah Smith is the best wide receiver in college football. I mean, good luck trying to cover them, Michael. I don't know if there's anyone in America who can. And I was actually thinking this during the game, and Joel Klatt made mention of this. But Michigan, they got us last year because, they could stop the run with two high safeties because of those two great defensive tackles. And they would have loved to have run that defense against us the entire game with two high safeties the entire game, like shutting down the downfield passing game. but they just couldn't do it because we were just able to run the ball so well on them. And yeah, man, it's just they couldn't do it. They had to take chances in this game. They had to commit more people to the line of scrimmage. And when they did that, I mean, they didn't get any pressure on us because I even saw that they brought 5 guys a few times to try and disrupt Julian Sand in the pass game. They never came close to him outside of like 1, 3rd, and 4 when they sent like 7 guys. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they just weren't able to get any pressure on us, man. And they couldn't run the defense that they wanted to run. So, you know, don't know what else to say, man. It's just pick your poison type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so talk for a minute about, you know, what are your thoughts on, do you think Ryan Day was playing, you know, checkers, chess, whatever, in the way that he was handling these 2 wide receivers, because they both appeared to be pretty healthy out there. And I'm not saying that they may not have had some aches and pains that had to get worked out with some ibuprofen and pregame, you know, warm up, but they seemed like they were both moving pretty well out there.
That's actually a really good question. And it's hard to say because Jeremiah Smith was legitimately limping against UCLA. I think he actually legitimately was hurt. Carnell Tate, I don't know. That could have been a fake injury for all we know. But I can tell you this, Michael, and this is where chess could come into play. And I wonder if Ohio State has really gotten better in the last month, because if you've noticed, our run game has elevated in the last month. And it's elevated, I think, because the offensive line has been forced to step up without the 2 safety valves and Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. And now Bo Jackson has become a really damn good running back and one of the top 10 running backs probably in the country, top 10, top 15 running back in the country. You have Isaiah West, who's a damn good back. You have C.J. Donaldson, who is probably one of the top 5 backs in America on the goal line. It's like this running game, Michael, is a force now because we just played a team who arguably has been the most physical team in college football for the last 5 seasons, and we were able to bully them. And
yeah,
that cannot be understated, man. We bullied the bullies. Because Michigan, that is what they do. They bully people, and they were really kind of being dirty on the field, by the way, getting in our players' faces. It was just a massive fight, and we were getting called for personal fouls, I feel like, more than them because we were retaliating and playing into their hands.
You know, Ohio State is I'm always seeing this stuff on YouTube about all their players getting into Christianity and all these things. I think it's been going on for a couple of years now. They got a bunch of players. And it seems that they are kind of embodying that of turning the other cheek in certain ways, you know, refusing to retaliate on the field. And so, you know, that's the way Ryan Day's running the program. Did I love Urban Meyer's in your face, screw you, I don't care? Yes, I love that. Did I like Ryan Day's what I considered softer approach in the beginning? I didn't. But I've come around to it. It's him. It's who he is. And I think he's finding himself as really probably as a man and as a football coach in recent years. And, you know, proving that you can have a different approach than that total alpha dog in your face, Urban Meyer, you know, and still, you know, be very, you know, very tough. You know, Jim Tressel obviously had a different approach than Urban Meyer as well. But you never questioned the toughness of Tressel's teams because they displayed it so early on. Ryan Day didn't necessarily have that in his early tenure. His teams, you know, because of Michigan bullying them, the toughness was questioned at times.
Yeah, and I see some comments. You know, I wanted to plant the flag too. I made that clear yesterday, and
I don't blame you either. I don't. Sometimes you just be a Baker Mayfield and you're a wild man and you plant the flag. I'm fine with that too. I'm just saying, like, you know, both, you know, I can see both sides.
Yeah, I will say this though. It's interesting that Michigan planted the flag in 2022. They planted the flag in 2024. Oklahoma planted the flag in 2017. You know what each one of those teams all have in common?
What?
They did not win the national championship.
Interesting.
Because 2023 Michigan, obviously we lost to them on their home field and they won the national championship. And Oklahoma, they choked in the semifinals. 2022 Michigan, they choked in the semifinals. So I don't know. Just thinking out loud. Could be something, could be nothing. Right. Michael, you have pointed this out before, and I think you are absolutely correct. But Will Kaczmarek, he is our best tight end, sir. Great catch in traffic. That cannot be understated. That was a great catch. He took a big hit and still held on. Max Clare with another drop. My God, he killed that drive. I understand it wasn't a great pass, but you are literally like the star tight end transfer from Purdue. You're expected to make that catch, man. Yep. And he didn't catch it, man. And another drop for Max Clare. He has just been a disappointment, Michael, and I've said it last week. He looks slow. And it's like, if you're going to play a slow guy, at least play Will Kaczmarek, because at least he can block. He's physical and he has tougher hands. I would, Max Clare is just weak sauce.
That's another one. He is listed at 258 pounds. I think he's got to be closer to 270 pounds. I really do, because he's 6'6", and when I was a little bulkier in college at times, when I was playing baseball, sometimes when I was kind of bulking up before I would lean down for the season, I would be 240 pounds at 6'2", and so I know how I looked. And on the 6'6" frame, it's very hard for me to believe he's not 275 pounds, and he's not fast at all, but he doesn't move terrible for how big he is,
Well, I mean, I guess not, but he was advertised as being somebody who would be.
No, I'm talking about Will Kaczmarek.
Okay, yeah, no, bro. Well, I mean, yeah, he moves fine for how big he is.
Yeah, no, Clark is definitely not 270 pounds. I'm talking about Kaczmarek.
Okay, yeah. Kaczmarek, man, is our best tight end. I think Jelani Thurman needs to get more burn. It really only seems like that he's in on those goal line packages when we go hard play action, because our first touchdown in the game, which by the way should have been a touchdown, there was no false start there. I have looked at that play in slow motion. I didn't see anyone flinch, so I don't know what the refs were looking at. But again, that goes back to the whole Carnell Tate thing. I think that was a makeup call for 2 bad calls against Ohio State. By my count, there was 1 bad call against Michigan, 3 bad calls against Ohio State. Maybe I'll go back and look again. I don't know. But yeah, Kaczmarek, beast, Clare, underperformer. And I don't know that Clare is ever going to, I think Clare is done after this year. He might have one more year.
Clare has another year if he wants it.
Well, he's coming back. The NFL doesn't want him. That's for sure.
Yeah. So
on defense, Michael, I don't know if you knew this, but we held Michigan without a touchdown for the first time in 11 years. Like they had scored a touchdown in every game, in these the last 11 years, and we broke that streak, man. So kudos to the defense. Good pressure on Underwood when he dropped back to throw from the defensive line. We didn't blitz a lot, but we did get solid pressure. Kenyatta Jackson, Michael, I believe, is establishing himself as a top 3 round NFL draft pick. Any thoughts of, just along those lines to start off with the defense?
Yeah. Well, just starting off something not necessarily, game related directly. Did you see the clip of Matt Patricia and Ryan Day after the game?
I did.
And Patricia said something to the effect of like, "Yeah, I told you we were going to win," or something.
I told you. He's like, "Yeah, I told you. I told you. And I don't know. I guess Ryan Day was like a cynic like us, man. He might have actually been in those meeting rooms like, dude, I don't know what to do. I worry I'm going to lose again. Who knows?
I would guess that it went something like this. Like Patricia was coming today during the week and he was saying, "Look, coach, I'm going to be able to make it hard on this team. like we're going to be able to make it really hard on this team. Like you get us 20 points and we, this is a game we're going to probably something like that. And Ryan Day being not quite sold that, that can happen, because we haven't been able to stop Michigan for years, really. I mean, other than, last year, 13 points, but I mean, good grief. I mean, but in the previous year, I mean, it's been years since it felt like we stopped Michigan.
Yeah, no, I mean, well,
and it has been years.
Well, it needs to be understood here that Michigan was without their top two backs, and their entire game is, like I said, it's built from the inside out, not the outside in. They essentially lost, Jeremiah Smith and I don't know, Brandon Inniss let's just say we lost Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Inniss, and we didn't have them available offensively. That is essentially what Justice Haynes and a dinged Jordan Marshall does to them. So there needs to be some understanding there because, Michael, the run defense was still shaky in this game. It did not really get dominant until Jordan Marshall got hurt. Peyton Pierce and Caden Curry, I continue to say this was not the game for them. Both looked too small to be going against Michigan's power. Curry is a good player against the right team. I want to make that very clear. He is a good player. I know he leads the team in sacks. I know he gets a lot of tackles for loss, but he is not the guy to be lining up against a power team to be shedding blocks and making plays. He is not that guy. Peyton Pierce, I'm not sure he's an Ohio State level linebacker, Michael. He looks small. He gets swallowed up by blocks. He's kind of in the mold of Tommy Eichenberg, and we all know how I felt about him. Two of Michigan's big runs, by the way, I looked at it. Two of Michigan's big runs to theirs, and they were both on the side that Michigan busted the run on. That is not a coincidence. It's not. And people are like, why do you want to play Bo Atkinson? Well, because Bo Atkinson is 6'6", 260 pounds. That's why I want to play Bo Atkinson. And I want to get Riley Pettijohn in there because he's also a little more physically imposing linebacker. I don't know why both of them didn't play. I made it clear before the game that both of them needed to play. Neither one of them did. I don't understand it. But, Michael, that game would have been a lot closer and would have gone down to the fourth quarter had they had a healthy Justice Haynes, Jordan Marshall. Ernest Hausman isn't going off on some retreat and quitting football. That's a very weird story that I just don't know what happened there, man. That's very weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it certainly would have been a different game. I think that for it to be significantly different, the Michigan offensive coordinator would have had to have called a significantly different game because it was just so predictable. I mean, there was nothing that took you off guard. I mean, you really didn't feel any threat down the field. I mean, everything they were throwing was short or sideways. And so,
so
let's
touch on Michigan. So Michigan fans, I will say this, Michael, obviously, again, Ohio State fans think Sharon Moore is a dumbass, and he sounded like a dumbass in the post-game press conference. So I'm like, well, let me go listen to see if he said anything stupid. Mm-hmm. And honestly, dude, he didn't. He actually sounded pretty well-spoken. So I don't know where people are getting this information that he's dumb. He may be a bad coach, but he's not a dumb guy, or at least he sounds articulate. But again, you can sound articulate and your actions don't back that up. But again, he didn't sound stupid in that press conference. That's what a lot of people were trying to say. But what was stupid, Michael, on Michigan's end? No catches for Andrew Marsh. I understand we have the best secondary in college football, but how is Michigan not trying to get him involved in any way possible? Screens, quick throws, pop passes. I don't know that I would have liked their game plan if I were a Michigan fan. I had again, we did the Oklahoma game. I had massive issues with their offensive game plan versus Oklahoma. I thought they absolutely could have won that game, but they were just too fucking conservative, way too fucking conservative.
It was similar to what they did, against Ohio State. And that is, that tells you a couple of key things if you're a Michigan fan. And which one is true, you probably won't know for some time. But number one, either the offensive coordinator is just bad, and he's calling a really bad game against Oklahoma, and he's going and doing the same game plan, essentially, or a very similar one, against an even better defense. And so that's option number one. Option number two is, I understand on the Oklahoma game, you've got a true freshman quarterback. It's very early in the season, and so you're going to be very conservative. But you expect the guy, and this is just the truth. You expect the guy who got 8 figures, and who was a 99, number one player in the country. He should be ready by game 12 to do more than that. And they didn't really. So I think probably one of those is the case, or, maybe the offensive coordinator and just doesn't have the confidence in him. But something is awry in the play calling quarterback area, right now. There's some development, I think, that should have taken place.
Well, there are two things. Number one, and a lot of people are saying Underwood can't throw or whatever. He made some good throws to Donovan McCulley, which, by the way, I think Donovan McCulley is a damn good wide receiver. I said that in our preview. Mm-hmm. They had no problem throwing to him, but dude, they didn't even attempt a pass. They did. I understand. Well, maybe I don't understand no receptions, but I can kind of see, if you try to throw deep one time and it's incomplete, but they didn't involve him at all. Like, he has literally been the guy in the receiving game, and they never tried to get him going at all. That's just stupid, man. That is just stupid. A pop pass, a screen, anything. Get the ball in his hands and see what he can do with it. Do I think that Ohio State would have had any problems with him? Probably not. But Michigan should have been trying to do that. And then, number two, I want to give a shout out to my wife. She has kind of put the idea in my head that Julian Sayin is calm and collected. She said that all year while I've had my questions. But I want to make it clear along the lines of Bryce Underwood, the things are not the same between Bryce and Julian Sayin. If you put Julian Sayin on Michigan and Bryce Underwood on Ohio State, you are kind of having similar conversations about the both of them. Just in the reverse right now. Would you agree?
Well, I mean, I think Sayin is going to be much more productive in the passing game, but I don't know. I don't know that they're any better probably than 9-3. I mean, maybe 10-2. Maybe with Julian Sayin they have a fighting chance in Norman or against USC. But no, I don't think there's going to be a drastic difference to the outcome of the season. If you would have put Julian Sayin on Michigan. Now, I think there probably would be maybe a significant difference in our outcome, because we'd have these wide receivers with a guy that is struggling to consistently throw to them. I
do believe, somebody, Jonathan Osborne, saying, I believe he would have developed better under Ryan Day. And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to, when you have the best offensive line in America, with the best 2 wide receivers in America, things are a lot easier to perform and execute. So,
well, that's true.
Yeah. So again, and you have to remember, Bryce Underwood is a true freshman. Julian Sayin is a redshirt freshman. Yeah. That year of maturity means a lot.
There's a difference. Another thing is, I don't think they really found that, because he was never billed as a runner. But he's a big guy, 225 or 30 pounds, could easily be probably 240 by the time he's a junior, and pretty fast. I won't say he's like blazing fast, but pretty fast. Definitely very capable big runner. And it's like they kind of figured that out as the season kind of went on, that they were going to start running him some, and he did run for not quite 350 yards, but just under that. And I think if they would have probably had that type of, emphasis in the offense all along, he probably was a guy that could have ran for 600 yards or so, maybe 650 or 700. So, he's not that far off. I mean, if you get him next year to where he's throwing for 2,600 and running for 700 or 800, then I mean that could very much fit into what Michigan wants to do. But that's yet to be seen. And so, as some are saying, is he going to hang around Michigan, or is he potentially going to go to LSU, which he originally committed to, and maybe learn under Lane Kiffin? Who knows? We'll see.
Oh, I hope not, man. Speaking of Lane Kiffin, man, I feel like we need to touch on that some, don't we?
Yeah,
dude.
So okay, Jay. Bottom line.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we think Michigan needs to move off of Sharon Moore?
No, you think? It's too early for that. I would say if he has, it's not like he got upset by bad teams. He lost to teams that I would say, again, the biggest problem I have with Sharon Moore this year is not the Ohio State game. It's not the USC game. It's the Oklahoma game. Like, that game plan was atrocious on their end. And we see now that Oklahoma's offense fucking sucks, which, by the way, I called that at the time. I'm like, yeah, I'm not impressed with your personnel and this, that, and the other. And all these Oklahoma fans are coming after me and saying I sucked and I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I kind of do know what I'm talking about, because every single one of them fucking hate John Mateer. They hate John Mateer now. They think he sucks. They think the wide receivers suck. So sometimes I know what I'm talking about. So listen to me, people.
Yeah, I mean, their offense stinks. I mean, they would be a great matchup. I would love Ohio State to, to get a matchup against Oklahoma in one of the playoff games. But be that as it may, they're still probably a fairly legitimate top 10 team in the college football landscape out there today. That's just where we're at. There's a big drop off from 1 through 3. This year, probably even by the time you get to 4, there starts to be a drop off. But certainly 1 through 5, there starts to be a significant drop off by the time you get to the bottom of the top 10.
So, man, I don't know where to really start with this, and I'm not even sure the right questions to ask. But, dude, what in the fuck was Lane Kiffin doing the last couple days, man? Like, I kind of felt like it was pretty fucked up that he was dragging Ole Miss and their players through all of that stuff, man. And then he's making, like, I've heard him yell to the crowd, like, I'm not leaving Ole Miss. And this is him after beating Oklahoma, like, I'm not going anywhere. And then more rumors pop up that he's going to Florida. He doesn't go to Florida. It gets announced today that he's going to Ole Miss. And then, like, he's threatening Ole Miss with, okay, well, I'm going to go to LSU, but I want to coach the bowl. And then they're like, no, we're not going to let you coach the bowl. And then he's like, all right, well, then I'm going to take all the players and staff with me. And it's like, dude, it is fucking crazy what is going on there, man. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, I mean, we've never seen anything like it, really, that I know of. A team that, and I think it all comes down to this. You've got a guy who still has a chance to play for a national championship at Ole Miss. They're going to the playoffs, so they've got a chance. They still could win a national championship. And he's looking at this other program across and going, could the grass be greener over there? Could it be easier to get back there every year? And the more times you're there, the more opportunities you have to win, the better your odds are to win one. Is that the better place to win a national championship? History says, yes, they are on the top of the mountain with 3 national championships in the modern era. Second only to Alabama and tied with Ohio State. Everybody else is behind them for national championships in the modern era. So history would say yes. Is that still the case in the NIL era and everything that's already going on in Baton Rouge? They're paying millions of dollars for a buyout, to get rid of Brian Kelly.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Those are all valid points you mentioned there, man. I don't know. But one thing that's interesting is, like, every single title they won was under a different head coach. They won with Nick Saban. They won with Les Miles. They won with Ed Orgeron. So there's an argument to be made that LSU is more of a mainstay in college football than Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, there is an argument out there for it. I'm not saying that that's the case, but if someone were to say that, make that statement to me, I'm not going to tell them they're wrong.
I mean, they have had success at every point in the modern era, where Alabama's success was all concentrated from 2009, obviously, to, I mean, they're still having success, but their national championship success from 2009 to whenever they won their last one in 18, maybe, or no. Was that their last one? 18?
20.
21? 20. Okay, 20. That's
when
right.
They beat
us.
Of course,
they beat Ohio State.
2021 season, yeah.
Yeah. So from 2009 to 20. And I mean, LSU has not had the sustained success. There's a lot of ups and downs. And so it's a different kind of place. It's a different animal down there in the Bayou. I live down there, Jay.
Yeah, well, we have the message boards up. One of the people on there said that LSU has the absolute worst fans in America. I have heard the same. I would put LSU and probably West Virginia fans all in there. Worst fans in America.
Yeah. So, they were certainly antagonistic to Ohio State down there. I mean, you wore Ohio State stuff, and like, just be ready for some snippy comments to come your way. And so, yeah. So
did you ever like get into a fight almost just wearing Ohio State gear out and about?
No, I looked at them like they were stupid.
What would they say?
Good team, but can't beat SEC.
Oh yeah. Well, it was true at the time.
Yeah, stuff like that. Sometimes a little meaner. But yeah, I mean, it was not uncommon. I grew used to it when I wore Ohio State gear.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I do know this. Ole Miss is like airing out all his dirty laundry now, like Lane Kiffin, about his drunk nights and I don't know, being drunk and like wherever. What city or town is Ole Miss located in? Oxford. Like him being like wandering around the streets of Oxford shirtless, and then like there is supposedly some story about they were away or like at the team hotel, and like he like gets out of his, like the door opens to like his like hotel room, and three women like walk out of the hotel room, and like one of the players is like, "Damn, coach, what'd you get into last night?" And he's like, "Them."
Yeah.
And it's like, I kind of believe that because he's always been kind of a wild man from what I understand, but it's pretty amazing he's performed at such a high level. My only thing is, Michael, with Lane Kiffin is why is he held in such high regards? Like this man, he is not Urban Meyer 2012. He is not somebody who's won like a couple national championships. Hell, he hasn't even won a conference championship. So why is he looked at to be on the upper echelon of coaches? And why did Ole Miss put up with this bullshit? Like, I will say this about Michigan, man. Like, I think Bo Schembechler was the athletic director in like the late 80s, and one of their basketball coaches is like looking around, and Bo Schembechler fucking fired him on the spot. He's like, I am only having a Michigan man as the head basketball coach here. And Steve Fisher took over the team, and he was a shitty head coach, but they had great talent on that team, and he won a national championship in, I believe, the 88-89 season or 89-90 season with Glenn Rice, I believe was his name. Probably the best NCAA tournament, individual player of all time. But again, where are the balls on these athletic directors now to just be like, fuck off. We'll move on without you. If you want to like have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, we don't play that game. But they played that game, and now they're keeping Pete Golden, their defensive coordinator, as their head coach, but they could have had a better hire had they gotten rid of Lane sooner. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's he was kind of billed as a boy wonder back years ago now, coaching the Raiders in his early 30s. That was a smashing failure. And then he went into the college ranks and took University of Tennessee and had a 7-6 season and immediately bolted for USC. And then was fired, famously on the tarmac.
Yeah, he got fired at
USC and was a total failure to that point. And I think Lane's a very talented guy. I think he's obviously undisciplined in some areas, and I think that it saved him probably failing and having to go get reamed by Nick Saban. I think it humbled him some. I think it gave him a different perspective, and I do think he's a pretty good coach, but yeah, it's hard for me to say he's just elite because, he hasn't won anything big. I mean, he's done a really good job.
Won anything outside of maybe like the conference championship when he was coaching at Florida Atlantic.
Yeah. I mean, and you look at, he's certainly done a really good job at Florida Atlantic. He's done a good job at Ole Miss. He's done a really good job for what Ole Miss has historically been. But you got to win. You got to win one of the really big ones before I'm going to, but as of right now, I mean, do you think there's anybody else who's more of a sure bet to win at LSU? I mean, because if you can win at Ole Miss, the theory is you can definitely win at LSU.
Are we saying any coach or just any coach who has
I'm saying like, I'm sure that's what LSU thinks is, hey, if this guy can have sustained success at Ole Miss, then we believe he can definitely come here and have sustained success. So, I mean, you think that is accurate?
Yeah, I would say that's accurate. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good coach, but he's just treated as somebody who's won like a national championship, like a Nick Saban in 2006-07 when Alabama got him from the Miami Dolphins. So I don't know.
Right.
Just, before we get out of here, I want to touch on just the college football playoff, man. Everything held as status quo, but I just wanted to mention one thing. There is a real possibility that Notre Dame gets left out of these playoffs.
Yeah.
Because think about it. I kind of ran down the list of teams, but you're going to get 3 from the Big Ten. You're going to get 4 from the SEC. You're going to get the Tulane or whatever, like group of 5 or non-group of 5 team automatic qualifier. You're going to get possibly 2 from the Big 12. But this is where it gets really interesting is the ACC, which, by the way, they have become the joke of like all of fucking athletics, man. In their conference championship game, they have the Virginia Cavaliers playing against the Duke Blue Devils. And the Duke Blue Devils are like 7-5. Now, this is where it gets really scary for the ACC because the rankings go is like it's the 5 highest ranked conference champions, and the ACC, if Duke wins, they will not get a automatic qualifier because Duke's not even fucking ranked.
Right.
So they would be behind like all the other conferences. Like the ACC's only chance to get a team at that point would be for Miami to get an at-large bid, and right now Miami and Duke are Miami and Notre Dame are the 2 biggest Duke fans in the world because that would, kick Virginia or the ACC automatic bid out and allow them to get in as at-large bids. But so
if Virginia wins, they get an automatic bid.
Yeah, they will go. But if Duke wins, the ACC is not getting a bid.
Yeah. So, I think here's the thing, obviously Miami says we beat Notre Dame, and that's fair. That's fair. It was early in the season and it was, on their home field. And so I think,
you know what? Bootzilla is right. The SEC is going to get 5. 5. That's right.
Yeah. I think the committee's job is to say, who are the 12 best teams right now? Who are the 12 best? And, if you put Notre Dame and Miami on a neutral field, who do you think has been the most consistent, since that? Well, I mean, you've got Notre Dame.
Well, that is a lot closer than you think. I know you're trying to lay this out like it's pretty easy, but Miami just blew out Pitt worse than Notre Dame did. Notre Dame just gave up 20 points to Stanford. And I watched some of that game some. Notre Dame was doing some tricky shit, running fakes on special teams to run the score up. Like, they were just doing bullshit to try and get style points. And their pass rush isn't that great, man. I'm telling you, I watched Notre Dame's pass rush, and I know they're without Kingston Viliamu now, which is a factor, but their pass rush is not that great, man. I'm telling you. I don't know who would win on a neutral field, Michael, to be honest with you. I think it'd be a 50-50 game. So then you just got to factor in the head-to-head, and Miami beat them.
Like, well, here's the other really college football thing to do. Well, what wins does each one have, and what losses does each one have? Well,
Miami has better wins, but they have also worse losses.
Yep. So how much are they going to factor that into it? So it could go either way. I mean, I couldn't argue for putting either one of them in. I personally think Notre Dame would beat Miami if they played at this stage in the season.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I tell you what, this Tuesday, the penultimate rankings reveal is maybe more important than the actual selection, because if Miami is still behind Notre Dame, and that's it for Miami, they're not getting in. Yeah. Basically, they will need to jump Notre Dame on these next release, or their season is, their season's not over. They're going to go to a bowl game, but their season is over in regards to acquiring a national championship. So where it gets really weird, Michael, is, and this is kind of setting a precedent for like ad infinitum. And what I mean is Texas just thumped Texas A&M. Texas has 3 losses on the season. 2 of them are within conference. That's not the problem. The problem becomes they played us in week 1 and lost. They have 3 losses on the year, right? Well, they have won some really big time games. They have beaten way better teams than Notre Dame. They beat Texas A&M at home, where Notre Dame lost and failed at home. It's like, if Texas gets left out, and I believe they should.
Who they beat at home?
They beat Texas A&M.
Are you talking about Texas?
Texas beat Texas
gotcha.
A&M.
Yeah.
So because of that, it's like, if they get left out, the entire country, Michael, needs to cancel their tough out-of-conference games, because there's no point in playing them.
Well, yeah, because if Texas plays University of North Texas week 1 and wins 41-7, then they're going to the playoffs right now. So it did nothing for them to play that big, highly ranked out of conference team.
Pull up that Bootzilla thing, that losing to Florida. Yeah, it is a problem. But if you are playing, I'm talking about the non-conference. If they're playing North Texas or fucking Akron instead of Ohio State, the Florida game wouldn't be a problem. Like, you're never going to avoid your conference foes, but you can avoid your non-conference foes.
Yep.
So if Texas gets left out, Ohio State and Texas need to be on the phone with each other and cancel next year's game in Austin. They do. There's no point in fucking playing it.
I think that's a good point, because regardless of whether they get in this year, which they probably will not, the committee is going to be communicating whether there's any value to those games. And you're right, if Texas does not get in, they'll be communicating that there is no value to playing those games, because we all know losing to Florida is probably why they're not going to get in. But as you said, if they don't play Ohio State and they play a give me week 1, and they're 10-2 coming out of the SEC with Arch Manning and all the hype and everything, they're going to the playoffs, period. They're going.
Yeah, they are. So it is a very dicey, dangerous game what the committee is going to be playing here. It's like, Notre Dame had their chance. They failed. And, they've looked impressive on the year, but, they haven't looked impressive in some games, one of them being who was it? Boston College, where they struggled mightily against. They didn't look great versus Stanford last night. I don't know if that has some, I was reading their message board and they kind of blame it on, they're like, our kids should be sleeping right now. And it's after midnight. What the fuck are we doing on ACC network playing this game? And, maybe they have a point, but you know what, when you're not in a conference and stuff and, you're kind of at the mercy of said teams and when they can play you. So you know what, join a conference, stop your bitching.
I've never been for them joining the conference, but I am now. I want.
I don't want them in the Big Ten. I don't want them in the Big Ten. They can go fuck off in the Big 12 or SEC. I don't know.
I used to feel that way. I've changed. I would take them now.
You seem to have a lot of respect for them.
Well, they beat the SEC quite a bit when I was growing up. They weren't real successful, generally speaking, but they had quite a few wins against the SEC when I was growing up. And so I always thought back then, well, that would be the only value they have is they're a Big Ten. They would be a Big Ten team beating the SEC team. And so looking at the college football landscape today, I'm thinking, okay, I like Marcus Freeman. I think he's going to continue to have a good program, and that would potentially be another top 10 program, national brand, national recruiting thrown into the Big Ten, going to increase the revenue significantly for all of the members across the board. Because we've been adding other recruiting ground, I'm fine with that third Indiana team. Back years ago, when we first started expanding, I was like, no, keep them out. I don't want a third Indiana team. We need to be getting new recruiting ground into the Big Ten. But at this stage, with as wide as the map's getting, and if they added Notre Dame, they'd probably definitely be adding at least one other school in some other state, then I'm totally fine with the 3 schools in Indiana.
Yeah. I didn't mention Vanderbilt. They only have 2 losses, but I just don't see a pathway for them. They're not only are they not a name, but they have 2 losses. Texas beat them, but I don't know, man. Like that back end there is going to get a little crazy. But other than that, Michael, we have to prepare for a conference championship game, man. We're playing the Indiana Hoosiers, and I think it sounds good. What did we say? We're going to film as an Indiana preview on this upcoming Wednesday, right?
Yep, Wednesday night. We're going to be doing the Indiana preview. And so we're getting to that time of year where there'll be some, probably several weeks, hopefully, with multiple episodes. And so, we're going to be going Sunday and Wednesday for now.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I don't have much else. Yeah, please like and subscribe. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on X. Get on this message board, man. If you haven't been on the message board, get on there. There are some great conversations about Ohio State in the Big Ten. Michigan fans, we want you there. Get on there, talk some shit, man. That's what we're here for. Freedom of Speech message board. It exists for that reason. But Michael, I don't have anything else, sir.
That's it. I'm out. Thank you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Be back and hopefully see you on Wednesday. All right.
Yep.
Bye.